Assalamualaikum and greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Flipped Classroom Teaching and Learning Module webinar, Teaching Impact 2023. Our webinar today is broadcasted live from the IPD's EduTV studio through EduTV at Policy's YouTube channel on September 26, 2023, 10th of Rabiul Awal, 1445 Hijriah. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share EduTV at Policy's YouTube channel. The attendance link for today's webinar series can be found in the description of our live YouTube channel, EduTV at Policy, and you may also scan the QR code displayed for the attendance form. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further delay, let's move on to our next session with Puan Saliha Abdul Rahman from the University of Nottingham, Malaysia. Puan Saliha Abdul Rahman has had a university career spanning about 3 decades. During this time, she has been teaching academic English and study skills to university students and has trained government and corporate personnel in communication and delivery skills. In addition to language and linguistic related modules, she also teaches critical thinking and applied psychology subjects at the University of Nottingham in Malaysia. Her areas of interest include critical thinking, dispositions, and reflective journaling to support learning and personal growth. She strongly believes in student-centered approach to classroom instruction and encourage the practice of the flipped classroom. Currently, Puan Saliha is the head of the Center for English Language and Foundation Education at the University of Nottingham, Malaysia. All right. Puan Saliha, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Alhamdulillah. Thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, very well, thank you. Are you broadcast from Semenyih?
Yes.
How's the weather in Semenyih?
Cloudy. It looks like it's about to rain. Alhamdulillah, all good.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully the internet will just fine.
Yeah.
All right, okay, Puan Saliha, without further delay, let's give a warm welcome to Puan Saliha to give a presentation with the topic of Look Before You Flip. Over to you, Puan Saliha.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay. Assalamualaikum, everyone. How are you all? This is the third session. I hope you're still charged with enthusiasm. Okay. I am going to deliver partly in English and partly in Bahasa. I hope you don't mind. But whatever it is, I'll start sharing my slides first. Okay. By the way, are they able to comment during the session for if they have any questions? I would suggest that you keep all your questions until the end. Yeah. All right. So I'm sharing with you my slides first of all. Hang on. Yeah. Okay. Okay, can you see my slides?
Yes, we can see your slide.
Okay, good. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Okay, so I am presenting a topic that is meant to boost your motivation. It's not just a motivation, because I think you all have the motivation, whether or not you have the intrinsic motivation. Sometimes I think it's because you are encouraged or you are told to by your superiors to do the flipped classroom, and you say, oh, reluctantly you say, okay lah, buat lah, but actually it's something very good that it's good practice to actually even if it's not going to be the whole duration of your course, but selected courses or selected weeks in your teaching duration, that you practice the flipped classroom. It will be very beneficial. Okay, but there are several things that you need to look at, so we're going to discuss some of them today. Okay, right. So the objectives for my session in the next half an hour, 40 minutes or so, is that you should be able to describe the preparations for using the flipped classroom, because it doesn't suit, it's not a one size fits all kind of method. So you need to prepare some things. What are those things you need to prepare for? What things you need to look at before you actually embark on the flipped classroom? So we're going to look at that. And then we also, my aim is so that having done that, you would be able to use the flipped classroom method confidently and successfully. Okay. Right. Of course, I think Dr. Amy, before me, she would have discussed the tools and so on, right? I'm just going to look at this very thinly, okay, because I think there's a lot of literature on it. But this is a primary difference. It's nothing, it's not rocket science. Okay, it's not rocket science. It's not something that is so far-fetched. It is, you know, and the primary difference is just this. You know, it's the switch or the flip between the delivery of the content and the practice or the homework tasks, right? So in traditional classrooms, you have the content delivery in the class, right? So you teach in class and then you have your tasks at home. Okay, so it could be a homework task, it could be an assignment, whatever. In the flipped classroom, it's the other way around, where you have the learning or you teaching, you know, at home, or rather in the students' homes, all right, in their own time. And then they come to class not to learn, well, obviously to learn, but to practice and to demonstrate that they understand um, what you're saying. Okay, so dia terbalik. So instead of kita ajar dulu and then buat homework, kita buat homework dulu. Okay, tapi dalam buat homework tu kita belajar, or rather the students belajar, and then dalam kelas kita tengok sama ada students faham ataupun tidak. Now, usually this varies. I think a lot of subjects will have different ways of determining whether students faham ke tidak kan. Kita tengok yang kita punya saja. This is the most basic flipped classroom. The most basic. You have a pre-recorded lesson. Okay, so students watch the pre-recorded lesson, and or they have a reading assignment. So maybe you ada a text ataupun tak kira lah bahan bacaan apa pun, you give the students to read at home before they come to class, ataupun you give them a task that prepares them for class. Okay, so task ni bukan task yang menguji kefahaman, tapi task yang membuatkan mereka discover. So for example, saya ajar bahasa Inggeris. I don't know how many of you teach English, but sometimes you learn, you teach a language not by giving, you know, explicit instructions, but you teach them by giving them a task. Nah, bila dia orang buat task tu, baru dia orang faham, oh macam ni buat present tense, macam ni buat past tense kan. So it's those kinds of tasks that you give before the class. And then the students do the homework tasks, all right, in class, with the teacher supervision. The teacher supervises, guides, facilitates the session. Okay. Now the rationale is that when students engage in tasks in the classroom, the teacher is able to monitor their understanding more closely. So maknanya tadi kalau yang ajar mathematics, for example, kalau you dah bagi instruction dekat rumah, dia orang datang kelas, dia orang buat latihan. Kalau latihan tu dia orang tak boleh buat, kita boleh terus kita tahu apa yang diorang faham, apa yang tak faham, dan kita boleh terus bagi feedback. So itu dia punya kebaikan the flip classroom, and that is the most basic lah. Okay, so kalau tak berapa basic ni macam mana pula? Tak berapa basic, kita gunalah other tools. Okay, Dr. Amy tadi surely dah discuss, you know, tools or methods of doing the flip classroom kan. So dekat sini saya tak nak tengok the flip classroom itself, tapi kita nak tengok kepada preparation. Look before you flip, look before you leap into the flip classroom. Okay, because ramai-ramai orang ni, okay, dekat politek kita banyak konteks. Orang tak sama macam kita. Kita selalu assume other teachers are like us. Or kita assume students kita macam kita. Ataupun other students ni macam kita. Ataupun serupa aja. Tapi sebenarnya tak serupa, because everybody is bound by their social context, their economical context, financial standing dan sebagainya. Access to technology, macam-macam lah benda yang kita kena fikirkan. Jadi kita kena look at those things before we leap into the flipped classroom. Okay, right. So these are typical classroom activities that you know, when you engage in the flipped classroom, you can do some of these things. The list is not exhaustive, but this is some common ones. Yeah, small group discussions. Obviously, kita ada, you know, problem solving tasks ataupun analysis, real world analysis. Contoh dia kalau orang ajar politics and history ataupun orang ajar, saya tak tahu subjek apa, you know, teknologi ke ataupun apa-apalah, tapi ada small group discussion di mana students akan cuba selesaikan masalah. There are problem solving activities. There could be analysis. Okay, let's say you're teaching a mathematical problem, so it's not just solving it, but there is an analysis of the problem. There could be a case study. So these groups, smaller groups, 4 or 5 people in a class, all right, so you can have 4 or 5 depending on the class size. Obviously you have small group discussions, and then you would then monitor what it is that they say, what it is that they discuss within their seminar groups. You could also have collaborative problem solving. This is similar to the small group discussions, but the collaborative problem solving could be between groups. So groups that don't just work with themselves, but they work with other groups as well. So they collaborate in order to solve problems. So this is also another activity that students can do. They can also be presentations, right? So they prepare before class. You've given them the instruction buat begini-begini dan sebagainya, and then they give the presentation in class. So masa class, after when they've given the presentations, and okay, did they present the what they're supposed to be presenting, or did they do it wrong? Apa penampilan dan sebagainya. So these are things that they can do in class. Hands-on activities are things like experiments ataupun kalau orang belajar masak-masak ke apa kan, you belajar theory, you dah bagi theory sebelum kelas, so dalam kelas you practice. Okay, so masa practice tu kita nampak sama ada mereka faham dan boleh apply, boleh boleh apply the theory into real world punya problems. And then also peer review. All of these things are not mutually exclusive, ya. Maksud saya, dia bukannya kalau dah buat group discussion ni kita tak buat presentation dan sebagainya. Dia sometimes there overlaps, bukan overlap lah. Dia maknanya you can do all these things within one session. Okay? Tak semestinya satu session tu kita buat cuma satu jenis activity. Alright, so peer review is an example. You can have a presentation, lepas tu minta sebelum kita bagi kita punya feedback sebagai pensyarah, kita suruh, kita minta pelajar ni untuk review ataupun bagi markah ataupun komen presentation kawan-kawan diorang, ataupun they probably comment or give feedback on somebody else's problem solving solutions. Sebab kadang-kadang kita ada what we call blind spot, kan? Kita sendiri tak nampak. You baca paper, contoh dia, you dah buat essay, you dah baca 100 kali sekalipun, kadang-kadang kita tak nampak, kita tak perasan kita punya kesalahan, kan? Ada kesalahan, typo ke apa ke, tapi orang lain yang tengok, immediately dia boleh point out that has a mistake, right? So somebody else can point out that mistake, and then students learn more from that. And then classroom activities can also include assessment and feedback. Okay, so sebagai contoh, you boleh bagi quiz, you boleh bagi test, ya. Maknanya, tapi taklah setiap kali you masuk kelas you bagi quiz and feedback, ya. Maksud saya ni, these are some activities that you can, change up your, so different weeks you will have different kinds of activities, so that there is there is variety in the activities that the students come into, because kita tak nak nanti buat benda yang sama je, budak-budak pun boring, kan? Okay, kita pun bosan, right? Asyik-asyik group discussions, and the thing is, kalau kita buat group discussions pun, we have to change up the students, because kalau boleh jangan biarkan students work in the same group, sebab nanti diorang they get so used to the same people, yeah. So we learn, because in the real life, in the real world, we collaborate with other people, we work with other people, whether we like them or not. Okay, we work with other people, we are civil. So sama juga, personality clashes can happen among the students, tapi kita buat mereka belajar. So this is how they learn. Kalau kita bagi dia orang group work to do outside of class, okay, katakan kita ajar macam biasa lecture, okay, balik rumah diorang konon-kononnya buat group work, tapi selalunya okay, ada yang tak engage pun in group work, and they wouldn't necessarily learn in that, kita negotiate, kita berbincang, berurusan, berkomunikasi dengan peers, which all of these things need to happen, but they sometimes don't happen because kita tak monitor, kita tak ada di situ untuk monitor. Tapi kalau kita buat dalam kelas, kita boleh immediately monitor dan kita boleh tengok, kita boleh supervise. So that's why there's also the rationale for doing the flipped classroom. Okay, so we go into the technical preparations. Again, I'm not going to dwell too much into these things because I think there is something else that you need to take away. Maknanya habis pada session ni, you ada something else that you take away. You terus boleh buat, okay? So in any case, first thing you need to identify and you need to set are your learning objectives. Okay, apa itu learning objectives, apa learning outcomes, kita akan tengok lepas ni kejap. Okay, but mesti ada learning objective. Apa aim, apa goal, apa target you mengajar. So kita ada target. Kita tak boleh masuk kelas kita tengok topik, okay nak ajar topik ni. Tapi kita tak ada target apa kita nak students pandai buat. Okay, kita mesti ada very clear, specific, very clear objectives about what we want the students to know and understand. Ya, macam saya, if you remember right at the very beginning of my presentation tadi, saya ada kata, by the end of the session, you should be able to describe the kinds of preparations, for a flipped classroom. By the end of the session, you should be able to engage in the flipped classroom confidently and successfully. So itu aim saya. Okay, so you need to have that purpose. You also need to prepare engaging pre-class content. Kalau you duk buat benda yang sama ataupun you duk buat benda yang mungkin kadang-kadang benda sama tak sebenarnya boring you buat benda yang tidak nak kata mengujakan bukanlah, tapi yang tak stimulate the curiosity of the students. Students tak rasa curious, tak rasa tak ada motivasi. So we want something yang engaging. Engaging bermakna bila students buat tu dia ada interaction antara mereka dengan material. Okay, that's what engaging means. It's not just motivation, tapi engaging ni bukan selalu kita cakap engaging tu benda yang interaktif kan. It's not necessarily that, tapi new information tu latches on existing information, because semua orang your students, they don't come into class not knowing anything. Dia bukannya zero terus. Macam you all datang, this session, daripada berapa orang yang ada sekarang ni, tak semua yang tak tahu langsung kan tentang preparations on the flipped classroom. You will know something. So apa benda you dah tahu tu, you latch on to this new information. So you want your pre-class content also to do that. Kalau boleh, you link dengan previous lesson, or you prepare them for upcoming lesson, ataupun you link dengan apa yang mereka tahu sama ada melalui you punya pembelajaran, proses pembelajaran, ataupun daripada their real life experiences. Okay, and then think also about their assessment and feedback. Okay, assessment and feedback yang saya sebut tadi tu, untuk kelas, that's different. But ini ialah untuk you tengok sendiri sama ada you berkesan ataupun tidak dalam you punya pengajaran dan pembelajaran. Okay, so what is suitable? Of course, kalau dekat poly ni ataupun higher institution, kita ada very specific guidelines kan. Kalau berapa jam pengajaran, berapa jam pula persediaan untuk students, berapa jam mereka perlu spend untuk belajar satu benda tu, dan apa hasil daripada tu, kerana kita kena measure kan. So you kena fikir tu juga, okay, tanpa lari daripada apa yang sudah kita set. Okay, dekat dalam kita punya apa kita panggil learning program specifications ataupun course specifications tu. Okay, kita stick to that. Kita sudah disediakan jalan, cuma sekarang variety ni kita tengok adakah kita berkesan, boleh tak kita buat cara lain. Okay, sebab assessment ni memang banyak. Exam bukan satu cara saja, assignment bukan satu cara, banyak cara. Okay, so macam mana you nak tengok sama ada student sudah berkesan. Okay, you punya pengajaran tu berkesan untuk students. Also look at whether you ada support and resources. Okay, support resources ni technical and technological, because you mungkin ada smartphone. Kita assume everybody has a smartphone. Okay, kita assume orang ada, macam sekarang lah, kita assume orang ada Webex contoh dia kan, ataupun ada YouTube. Ada tak orang yang tak ada? Mungkin they have to go through, they don't have apa tu, Wi-Fi at home ataupun data that they can use, then they would have to access the content from somewhere else. So, in some places, students ni bila dia balik daripada rumah, dia tak ada Wi-Fi dekat dalam campus contoh dia kan. Adakah mereka boleh access pre-class content yang you nak bagi tu? Okay, so you kena tengok tu. You boleh tengok kalau ada sesuatu berlaku, boleh tak you bagi support? Kalau you perlukan support, adakah you punya institution bagi support juga? So you kena tengok lah, okay? Sebab tak semua orang akan ada apa yang kita perlukan mereka ada, okay? Termasuk juga buku ke ataupun ada bahan bacaan yang kita akan gunakan sebagai pre-class content. Do they have it? Can you provide? Maknanya boleh tak perlu beli ke? Ataupun kalau you bagi melalui email, adakah you you breaching copyright ni ke kan? So semua tu kena tengok. Okay? Tapi selalunya kita okey je kan? Selalunya kita okey je. Lagi satu, student accountability. So kalau kat dalam kelas saya akan tanya, what do you understand by student accountability? Okay, tapi because kita tak ada that opportunity, so I'll just tell you, student accountability ni macam mana kita nak tahu students engage. Kita dah bagi dia pre-reading material, macam mana kita nak tahu students dah baca? Kita bagi pre-recorded lecture untuk students tengok sebelum kelas kan. Macam mana kita nak tahu students tengok sebelum datang kelas? Sebab selalunya kita bagi homework, orang tak buat pun. Okay. So macam mana kita nak tahu? So sometimes macam dekat Nottingham kita ada Moodle, kita ada portal di mana students ni dan kita boleh engage. Kalau orang log in to watch kita punya video, kita tahu dia dah tengok ke ataupun dia tak tengok. Ataupun dia tengok katalah duration video tu half an hour. Dia orang spend the full half an hour ke ataupun dia orang tengok cuma 10 minit sahaja ataupun 2 minit sahaja. Okay, so there are ways of finding out. I don't know how you do it, okay, but you have to find a way of monitoring this. You have to find a way of making sure that your students are accountable. So kalau tak ada technology to support you in this, then find something yang low tech. Okay, kita ni semuanya nak high tech kan, tapi sebenarnya banyak benda low tech juga yang kita boleh buat. Okay, so contohnya kalau kita ambil attendance, kita boleh sign kan, tapi kita tak minta student sign. Tapi kadang-kadang just by telling them, look, this is, you are doing this for your own good. So if you're not honest with yourself, how are you going to learn? So kebanyakan budak, dia bukan budak, maknanya orang tua pun ya, in when they're learning ataupun in their jobs, tak fikir tentang amanah. So if you fikir tentang amanah, then you will know you kena buat macam mana pun. So all these things berkait, right? But in any case, ada student accountability, and you sebagai lecturer, you tahu you are you sendiri accountable. Bila you ditanya, contoh dia, macam mana you tahu you punya students dah buat macam ni, you mesti ada jawapan. Okay. You also have to think about classroom activities, obviously. Lagi satu ialah clear communication. You mesti bagi tahu dekat students, okay, dan juga any stakeholders what you intend to do. Because sometimes kalau students ataupun stakeholders ni tak faham yang kita buat ni flip classroom, what's going to happen is that they are going to think that kita ni pemalas. Okay, lecturers ni apa pasal tak ajar dalam kelas. Sebenarnya kita mengajar. In fact, in most cases there's more preparation for the flip classroom than there is in a traditional classroom. Because in traditional classroom, we can, masuk kelas, ajar, and then kita bagi homework, kan? Ataupun kita bagi assignment. Tapi kalau flip classroom ni, a little bit effort, okay? A little bit more effort is required because kita nak monitor both the pre-class and also the in-class, okay? Tapi sebenarnya kalau difikir-fikirkan, alright, tak banyak pun, okay? Kita rasa banyak sebab kita tak familiar, kita tak biasa, maka kita rasa banyak kerja. Tapi sebenarnya kalau kita dah start, katalah kita bagi 3 bulan contohnya, untuk kita prepare, once we get used to it, kita dah okay, we can carry on with the flipped classroom, okay? And then, of course, think about professional development as well. Do you need professional development? Do you need to learn how to use technology? Sebenarnya kalau kita buat pre-class content, contoh dia lecture, okay, you boleh guna your phone, okay? You tak payah guna high-tech, you ada ring light lah, apa benda. it's not necessary. Okay, kalau ada bagus, tapi kalau tak ada pun tak apa, because everybody ada smartphone yang boleh, yang ada kamera. Kalau you ada kamera, you boleh aja. Kalau some people kata, oh saya segan lah, tak nak tunjuk muka. Okay, nanti students, I don't want them to watch my video. Contohnya kan, you don't have to show your face because you can have, you can record the lecture. Katalah slide macam ni. You can use Echo 360, okay? You can use apa nama a lot of even Webex. I think you can use MS Teams, you can use Zoom, where you prepare that lecture tu. Kita tak payah, kalau katalah lecture biasa 2 jam, kita tak payah lecture 2 jam tu, okay? Kita ambil key points yang kita nak sampaikan. Kita boleh bagi 1 jam sahaja ataupun break ada 2 half an hour punya sessions. So students tak rasa terbeban dan dia tak rasa Allah, I have to watch this before the class and then dalam kelas ni kena buat lagi. No, it's not like that. Okay. So kalau you rasa tak pandai, nampak kan? Then there is probably an opportunity for you to develop yourself untuk belajar benda-benda ni. Okay. So these are some things that you need to look at, okay, before you leap into the flipped classroom. Okay, tapi ada yang lebih penting daripada semua ni. Because saya rasa kalau you tahu you kena buat ataupun nak buat flipped classroom, you akan tahu, okay, I don't know this, macam mana nak prepare. And then you will have your own list kan. Tapi the first thing yang akan govern ialah, okay, your mindset. Okay, the most important preparation is your mindset. Because with the right mindset, okay, you will make you will think the right ways. Your right mindset ni will determine your thoughts. Okay, dia akan mengelola pemikiran kita. Okay, dan pemikiran kita ini akan mengelola dan mempengaruhi tindakan kita. So if mindset kita sudah negatif, contoh dia kan, this is a lot of work. It is some work, not a lot of work. It's a lot of work ataupun tak pandai itu, tak pandai ini dan tak pandai, kita boleh belajar. Kalau mindset you betul, kalau tak pandai you boleh belajar. Kalau mindset you tak betul, tak pandai, nanti you akan selamanya lah tak pandai. Okay, because you tak nak belajar. So it's your right mindset. The right mindset will determine your thoughts, akan mengelolakan you punya pemikiran dan akan mempengaruhi tindakan. Jadi tindakan you, katalah you have the right mindset, you tahu, okay, I don't know this, I have to know these things. Contoh then you will know, okay, saya kena tanya orang ni ataupun saya kena tanya, minta support, saya akan tanya my supervisor, saya akan tanya team, saya akan tanya students. There are so many sources of information, right? But if you don't have the right mindset, then everything will go to waste. Now, from the right mindset, okay, you can set apa? You have to set your purpose. Okay, purpose ni, apa purpose-nya? Tujuan, hala tuju. Okay, your life has to have purpose. Okay, kalau tak ada purpose, kita akan membazir kita punya resources, kita bazir masa, kita bazir tenaga, kita bazir effort sebab kita terumbang-ambing. Ibarat kita dekat laut, okay, we are drifting at sea. Alright, if you have no purpose, no direction, we are not going to go anywhere, right? Tapi with purpose, there are so many benefits. First of all, of course, you get the motivation. Okay, kita tahu kita ada purpose, ada hala tuju, therefore we are motivated. Okay, so a lot of people think that motivation is important. Yes, motivation is important, but motivation is important to get you started. Tapi in order to maintain that energy levels, you have to be consistent. You have to have the right mindset. Again, it goes back to the mindset. You ada purpose, your mindset is correct. Okay, betul mindset you akan motivated dan daripada motivasi ni, you akan teruskan. Kalau tak, you tak boleh teruskan. Okay, your purpose is also your direction and focus. Okay, kalau kita tak ada purpose, kita tak ada hala tuju, excuse me, kita tak akan ada tak akan ada tujuan, dan because kita tak ada tujuan, kita tak fokus. Bila tak fokus ni, kita serabut lah. Okay, bila kita serabut, kita mudah give up. Yalah, it's linked to resilience. Your resilience adalah kekuatan. So there will be challenges, okay? Tapi if you had a purpose, it doesn't matter how hard your challenges are, it doesn't matter how big your challenges are, you will be resilient and you will carry on because you want to meet your purpose. You nak capai you punya hala tuju tu, jadi you tak kira lah apa cabaran sekalipun, you akan teruskan. having a purpose is also important because it is your resource management. Okay, resource ni apa? You punya, macam saya sebut tadi lah, you punya duit, you punya, your money, your energy, your time. These are your resources. If you don't have a purpose, this will go to waste. Yeah, because you akan spend kepada benda-benda yang tak ada manfaat. Purpose is also important for fulfillment and meaning. Kalau you buat sesuatu tak ada makna, you tak akan buat. Bila tak ada motivation, all of these things are related. You buat flip classroom contoh dia, tapi tak ada makna pada you. You buat aja lah because bos dah suruh ataupun because everybody is doing the flip classroom. I'm just going to do it. You don't see the value of the flip classroom for you or for your students. You're not going to engage in the flip classroom. Okay, tapi kalau you see, it's very fulfilling to see that students gain something, you gain something, and then you're providing meaning to them, you're providing meaning for yourself. Okay, benda tu ada makna, ada apa orang kata, yalah ada makna, ada apa sesuatu yang you capai, that fulfillment, you rasa macam you memenuhi satu kehendak. Okay, then it becomes more meaningful, and bila something has meaning ni dia lebih enjoyable, right? Dia lebih enjoyable. And of course, when you have purpose, you will grow. Okay? Dia ibarat macam ni lah. Kalau you ada purpose, macam target purpose target ni kadang interrelated. You masuk, it doesn't matter at what age kalau orang tua macam saya pun, okay, mesti ada kita dah capai satu target, kita capai lagi another target sampai maknanya kita kena set high apa orang kata goal. Okay, ada this professor ni, saya tak ingat nama dia, tapi it's quite popular juga dia saying lah, nasihat daripada ayah dia kata ayah dia orang asal orang miskin, tak bersekolah, maknanya sekolah tak habis lah, tak masuk universiti, tapi anak dia masuk universiti. Dia cakap dengan anak-anak dia, son, I wouldn't mind. Okay, saya tak kisah. I wouldn't mind if you set, a very high goal, right? A big goal and miss. Okay, you set goal yang tinggi, purpose yang tinggi, and then you miss, you tak capai, tak apa. I don't mind, but I would be very upset if you set low, if you aim low, even if you hit. So you aim high. Okay, aim high. Kalau miss tak apa, sebab you akan berada di tempat yang tinggi. Okay, you all halfway there already, right? Tapi kalau you aim low, kalau you target you rendah aja lah, asal pass saja, ataupun asalkan student dia buat aja, asalkan boleh je, then even if you hit your target tu, dia tak ada makna. Maknanya you tak grow pun. Okay, kalau you set high, you tahu, okay, I nak buat benda macam gini, tapi tak pandai. Then kalau tak pandai, kita belajar. Bila kita belajar, kita grow. Jadi kalau that's the importance of purpose. Dia bagi motivation, bagi fokus, bagi kekuatan untuk terus terus berusaha. Dia bagi mudah untuk mengendalikan resource, and then it provides meaning, bagi fulfillment and growth, right? So this is why purpose is important. It's you look within yourself, right? Okay, now within the classroom setting, purpose is important. Saya cakap dengan students, your purpose ni bukan just for life purpose. You duduk for 15 minutes in front of the laptop, mesti ada purpose. You baca buku, mesti ada purpose. You nak spend the next 15 minutes pun mesti ada purpose. Okay, sebab kalau you tak ada purpose, you akan tenggelam. Okay, you akan tenggelam. Saya akan cakap pasal tenggelam in a minute, alright? Tapi within a classroom setting, your learning outcomes and learning objectives need your purpose. Okay, and then bila you dah set your purpose for the classroom tu, you work backwards. So maknanya you start with the goal in mind. Okay, and this is true not just for the classroom. Okay, it's for anything that you aim for lah. You aim nak kaya ke, you aim nak berjaya dalam career ke, you start with the goal. Okay, and then you work backwards. Okay, nak capai ke sini, kena buat apa. So then barulah you ikut you punya perjalanan yang you dah atur tu. Jadi saya nak tengok if my time is ni ke. Okay. Right. So learning outcomes. Now saya tahu you all dah banyak orang kata pengalaman mengajar, right? But even if banyak pengalaman mengajar, tapi bila disuruh menulis outcomes dengan objectives, a lot of people still tak buat yang betul. Okay. So you have to know this. Learning outcomes are broad statements. Okay, they're very general, sangat umum, penyataan umum yang menyatakan kebolehan ataupun pengetahuan ataupun kemahiran yang kita nak students ada. Okay, setelah mengikuti subjek kita ataupun program kita. Okay. So this is from the perspective of the learner. It's written from the perspective of the learner. So for example, by the end of a course, students, meaning you, will be able to apply critical thinking concepts to solve real world problems. Okay, so ni very umum, apply critical thinking concepts. Alright, sangat umum. Jadi students yang kata, okay, kalau saya dah ikuti program ni ataupun subjek ni, saya akan tahu cara nak apply critical thinking concepts. Tapi bagaimana specifically, okay, apa you boleh buat, kita tak sebut, kita cuma bagi tahu, okay, you akan boleh buat ni, you ada this type of knowledge, or this type of kemahiran, okay. Other examples, develop an understanding ke, ataupun acquire the skill of something, ya, mendapat memperolehi kemahiran, membina kefahaman, right? So very umum. Tapi ini selalunya sudah ada dalam you punya program ataupun module specifications, okay? Dalam module specs bila kita buat, selalunya institusi lah, you punya bosses ya, yang dah buat ni, ataupun ketua program sudah ada, okay, kita buat program ni, ini kita punya learning outcomes yang kita harap bila student sudah ikuti program ni, ini yang mereka akan dapat. Okay. Tapi setiap lesson ataupun setiap minggu, you ada learning objectives. So learning objectives are specific measurable statements. So measurable maknanya tadi, you boleh ukur sama ada students tu sudah capai atau belum, ataupun adakah mereka halfway nak capai ke, alright? So specific measurable statements that describe what students should know, understand, or do. Written, and this is written using specific action verbs. So for example, you can say by the end of the course, students will be able to deliver an effective research presentation. So deliver a presentation. Itu maknanya kalau diorang tak boleh deliver effective research presentation, so these are elements yang kita tengok, maknanya dia tak tercapai that objective. Okay, so they mesti specific action verbs. So for example, as more examples other than deliver, they can design something, they can create, they can write a research report, they can write a formal letter. So kalau you ada macam tu, maknanya you sudah berjaya. Okay, jadi you mesti measurable. Maknanya tadi you boleh tahu bila mereka sudah capai. Sebab kalau kita kata by the end of this lesson mereka akan faham. Okay, tapi apa ukuran faham tu? Okay, apa ukuran faham? Jadi kalau mereka faham, mereka boleh buat. Jadi apa yang mereka boleh buat, itu yang kita letak dalam learning objectives. Jadi kita mulakan dengan learning objectives ni dan kita work backwards. Yeah, for example, you've decided your purpose or learning goals. Okay, so in this case, your learning outcomes. Alright, and then you create the in-class activity. So apa you nak mereka buat dalam kelas? So apa, ini tadi kita dah tengok kan dalam kelas ada discussion, okay, lepas discussion buat apa? Ada presentation ke, ada peer review dan sebagainya. So kita create the in-class activity, apa mereka nak buat berkait dengan learning goals ni. Kita tak bolehlah buat just for the sake, kita buat discussion je lah, kita boleh kill time. Okay, kita ada 2 jam ataupun kelas ni 1 jam setengah, masuk kelas, kita discuss di kelas, waktu habis. Okay, dia tak tertuju kepada satu target. Satu target ni penting, your goals are penting. Kemudian kita buat aktiviti untuk yang menjurus kepada mencapai goals tadi tu. Okay, kemudian kita create the pre-class macam. Jadi untuk kita capai yang apa kita nak buat dalam kelas tu, pre-class kita kena ajar apa dulu. So this is how we ni. Of course benda ni tertakluk kepada topik yang dalam syllabus lah kan. Okay, but within the syllabus tu, kita nak mereka boleh buat apa dalam kelas. Jadi sebelum kelas tu, sama ada you nak bagi pre-recorded lecture ke ataupun you nak bagi reading material ke, it doesn't matter, you know, it's up to you. Tapi benda ni berkait, mesti ada you punya purpose dulu, okay, ataupun learning goals ataupun learning outcomes. Alright, saya bagi examples. Here's an example. Students should be able to evaluate academic sources. Okay, so dalam academic English, dia orang kena pandai nak evaluate. So, sebab kita tak boleh guna Wikipedia contohnya, kita tak boleh guna ChatGPT, okay, tak boleh guna, you know, non-academic sources, kena academic sources. Jadi dalam kelas, you nak buat apa? We nak small groups discuss validity and reliability. So these are the criteria. You ada set criteria lah, the validity and reliability. Valid ke tidak, okay, dan boleh harap ke tidak, okay, boleh percaya atau tidak sumber-sumber maklumat tu, okay. Kemudian you nak students share evaluation tu with the rest of the class, right? Of course ni saya ringkas lah, secara ringkas. Of course you know at this stage ni you mesti ada you punya macam lesson plan lah, okay. So kalau you dah berpengalaman, you tak perlulah a very detailed lesson plan. Tapi kalau you baru mengajar, if this is you're new to this, I think it's a good idea to just have bila you buat slides untuk kelas ataupun you prepare for your ni, you ada data tunjuk, okay, mula-mula you nak students buat apa, kemudian buat apa. You know, okay, kalau you tak prepare, students tahu. Okay, kalau you kelentong, students tahu. Okay, macam kalau saya kelentong you tahu. Betul tak? Okay, jadi you kena prepare. Set the aim, okay, and then tengok apa you kena buat dalam kelas, and then prepare the pre-recorded lessons. Okay, here's another example. A student should be able to only IT lah, contoh tadi tu subject general social science contoh dia. Okay. Students should be able to create a simple web application. Okay, so they not create web application using HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Okay, that includes interactive features and responsive design. So ini nak interactive. Ini orang IT tahulah. Okay, so you nak ajar coding contoh dia, you nak buat mereka bina website ataupun web application. Okay, so dalam kelas you nak dia orang buat ni, right? Sebelum you buat tu ada warm up ataupun lead in. So kita buat a class discussion on coding exercise, right? Kita lepas tu kita break them into smaller groups, and then students will complete a specific task related to web application development. So mungkin satu group buat HTML, satu group buat CSS, satu group buat JavaScript dan sebagainya. Okay, kemudian mereka share. Bila mereka dah share tu barulah ada, then you tahu, okay, ada questions. Masa tu juga kita boleh clarify, because peers ni bila dia discuss, kita tahu, okay, gap dia, saya faham yang ini saya tak faham. So, kawan-kawan boleh sama-sama support. And then with the teacher, when they have discussed all these things, the teacher can come in and say, oh betul lah tu ataupun salah, okay, based on apa tu, kita punya dia orang punya feedback ataupun cara mereka buat the tasks. Alright, so you've decided that you're going to do that, boleh tengok, okay, apa you kena ajar supaya mereka berjaya buat ni. Okay, so you tengoklah pre-recorded video lesson ke, okay, maybe extra reading materials ke, tapi tak boleh terlampau banyak sebab there are weekly classes kan. Okay, tapi benda ni kita tak semestinya bagi right before the class. Mungkin you bagi awal semester, mungkin you bagi, you will have to determine apa waktu yang sesuai untuk you bagi lessons ni. Alright, so you have that pre-recorded video lesson ni on web applications that cover all these things lah yang you nak ajar. Kemudian any extra reading materials kalau perlu. And then when they come to class, you dah bagi task, mereka tahu apa mereka kena buat, right? So those are two examples that I can, can show you. Okay, so another thing that is also important, okay, is for you to look before you leap into the next flipped classroom. Okay, maknanya kita tadi sebelum kita start, kita dah look kan, look before we leap or look before we flip. Tapi kita mesti ada reflective practice juga. Okay, so this is your critical thinking. You tak boleh short sendiri. Okay, kita dah buat flip classroom, kita rasa, oh bestnya students dah macam, and then kita short sendiri, kita buat lagi. Mungkin they enjoy it tapi tak ada value. So kita kena tengok value juga. Jadi reflect on what went well and what did not go well. Okay, kalau benda tu go well, kenapa? Kalau it didn't go well pun kenapa? Dan apa yang boleh diperbaiki. Right, so what can you keep? Apa kita boleh teruskan, apa kita kena buang ataupun ganti. Jadi bila kita buat macam ni, kita sentiasa ada pembaharuan, sentiasa ada growth both for you as well as for your students. And saya sangat-sangat sarankan untuk you ada notebook. Notebook tak payah besar, notebook kecil boleh, okay? Notebook tak payah beli, notebook buat kadang-kadang, universiti bagi free ke apa ke macam ni, okay? Ni besar lah juga ni kiranya ni kan, but kalau you ada anak sekolah rendah, sekolah menengah kan ada buku latihan kan. Beli one of those semua tak apa, janji you tulis. Okay, sebab apa? Bila you tulis, you akan lebih ingat. Right? Itu tak sebenarnya kita punya memory, kita punya ingatan, kita punya daya ingat ni terikat pada apa? Dia tak terikat, orang katakan terikat pada otak. Okay, kat bahagian amigdala lah, however. It's not. Kita punya memory, kita punya kuasa mengingat tu, keupayaan mengingat dia terletak pada kita punya muscles. Okay, muscle maknanya kita punya otot. Sebab tu orang yang menghafal Quran contohnya, mereka akan tulis. There is called this latihan called tahriri, where they would read. So kalau you sedang menghafal something, tulis. Sebab tu dulu masa saya kecil-kecil, you all taklah mungkin kan, okay? Saya ingat kawan-kawan punya nombor telefon. Right, sebab apa? Sebab kita tulis dalam buku telefon. Right, kita tulis nombor phone orang jadi kita ingat. Okay, sekarang nombor phone sendiri pun kadang tak ingat kan? Because you have to write. So when you do this reflective practice ni for the flip classroom, tulis, okay? Some people kata tulis senang je, you just tap on the screen. Pun boleh jugalah, tapi dia tak sama. Okay, sebab apa? Bila you menulis ni, like I said, it's muscle memory. Dia akan terus register kat dalam otak. Kita lebih ingat dan kita benda itu lebih berkesan. Okay, right. So these are sources for practical ideas, right? When I say practical ideas, it means immediately kalau you tak boleh, kadang-kadang kita buntu kan, mana kita dapat idea untuk buat kita punya before pre-class materials and then during class apa kita nak buat. Okay, senang sahaja. Okay, saya tak gunakan the word social media, tapi specific types of social media. Because social media ni banyak kan, ada WeChat lah, ada orang sekarang ada line lah apa, tapi kita guna, ini yang saya sarankan, okay? Bukan sarankan macam mana orang kata guna YouTube ke TikTok, memang tak boleh, sebagai academic source memang tak boleh guna, okay? Tapi untuk practical solutions, you can learn anything under the sun using YouTube, TikTok, or Instagram. Tapi you kena ingat, this is why your purpose is important. Okay, saya sebut tadi, kalau tak ada purpose, kita akan tenggelam. Maksud saya tenggelam macam ni. You tengok YouTube ataupun you tengok TikTok. TikTok ni short videos kan. Instagram pun sekarang ada Instagram Reels, short videos. Kalau you tak ada purpose, okay, you akan tenggelam, you tak perasan you nak spend half an hour sahaja, okay, nak cari material untuk you gunakan dalam kelas. Tapi apa yang jadi sampai pukul 3 pagi dekat TikTok. Okay, tengok hidup orang lain ataupun tengok benda-benda yang tak berkenaan. Okay, siapa yang guilty of that? Okay, bukan budak-budak sahaja, orang dewasa pun, okay, boleh apa orang kata, boleh tenggelam dekat dalam social. So you really have to be careful. Jadi set your target, apa you nak cari. Now the thing with algorithm social media ni, dia akan feed into our ni, kita punya news feed tu, it will send us videos yang berkenaan apa yang kita cari. So kalau kita cari benda baik, kita cari tentang flip classroom, kita cari tentang techniques of effective classroom management ke apa ke, benda-benda tu yang akan datang. Jadi kita filter lah, kita ada sedikit filtering to do, but still it's better than tak ada fokus dan tak ada apa orang kata, tak ada aim and target. Right? So you can look on YouTube, you can look on TikTok, Instagram, and the other one that a lot of people miss, right? You mesti collaborate dengan orang, ada peer networks, boleh cari, ada tak kawan-kawan ataupun orang lain, kalau macam you pergi, sekarang ni kita tak ada physical webinar kan, physical webinar, it's a webinar, tapi kalau ada physical seminar, ada conference, ada meeting di mana you berjumpa dengan other practitioners, okay? You network dengan diorang supaya you boleh kata, okay, I nak buat peer review ataupun I nak buat flip classroom. You pernah buat flip classroom tak? Apa you boleh buat? You can actually, kalau dia kata tak pernah, you can actually initiate a meeting. You can initiate a conference. You boleh cakap, kalau you sendiri tak boleh buat, you boleh cakap dengan you punya superior and kata, I nak buat a seminar ataupun meeting with other colleagues from other branches of colleges ke apa ke. It's a pool of network, because sometimes kita tak terfikir satu benda, kita ajar satu subjek, mathematics, statistics ke apa ke, orang lain pun ajar juga, okay? Tapi mungkin kita tak ada idea yang sama, tapi bila you network dengan orang lain, you dapat idea dan everybody benefits. The thing with ilmu ni, kalau kita share, kita lagi banyak kita share, lagi banyak kita dapat ilmu. Kan, so peer network ni, so of course you have your social media, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram ni untuk cari ideas, videos and so on. But work also with your own colleagues for ideas on how you can practice the flipped classroom. Okay, because at the end of the day, you still have to do your own materials. You tak boleh lah cakap dengan students, okay, you tengok video ni, ada link, tengok video ni. Okay, macam dekat YouTube ada banyak TED Talk, for example, there's certain website kan, TED TV ke. Of course you can watch that, okay, tapi mesti ada supervision, mesti ada content, mesti ada again, purpose. What is your purpose for asking them to watch those things? Tak boleh lah watch orang lain punya video. You sendiri kena build, you kena bina you punya bank of materials. Okay? Alright, just sikit saja again. This is last. right? The conclusion, before leaping into the flipped classroom, tiga benda you kena tengok, your goals and objectives. I cannot say this enough, mesti ada purpose, mesti ada aim, target, okay? Your own life purpose as well as the purpose for your classes, right? And then look at the technical accessibility and support for you and your students. So ini termasuklah material, termasuklah peralatan, termasuklah teknologi, any kind of technical support ke. So you ada access ke tidak and your students ada access ke tidak. Kemudian kalau you perlukan support, right? Kalau something happens ke ataupun ada glitches ke, do you have someone to help? Right? So make sure that this is taken care of also. Okay, and finally your own reflective thoughts. Mesti reflect, mesti apa orang kata, renung kembali. Kita jangan buat sekali kita dah, lepas tu kita ulang lagi, next semester kita ulang lagi, tahun depan kita ulang lagi, tanpa kita merenung sama ada kita berjaya atau tidak, sama ada kelas kita berkesan ataupun tidak. Right? So itu sahaja. I'm going to stop sharing, and right now I think it's 12 o'clock already, 12:04 on my clock. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
All right. Okay, Puan Saleha, maybe can you give advice to some of the lecturers who is still new to implement the flipped classroom, especially when they want to prepare, to make some preparation? It may take some time for them. So maybe you can give some, motivation to make this happen.
Okay. My advice, especially for new. Okay, are we okay? All right. So my advice for new lecturers, all right, don't be over ambitious and do the whole semester of teaching with the flipped classroom. Start with just one or two. Okay, when you're successful at one or two sessions, and then you do more. Okay, so then you gauge. But then it's a method, it's an approach. Okay, it's very student centered. So there are lots of benefits. Jadi you cannot dismiss altogether. You tak boleh terus, in a traditional way and carry on with it. You have to try. Okay, but it doesn't mean that you try every week, right? It doesn't mean you try the whole semester. You can try with just one or two sessions. Because for example, this week, okay, next week you're going to teach, you tengok apa you nak ajar. What am I going to teach? Right? It doesn't matter what subject, it works for all subjects, right? I'm going to teach this, all right? So I'm going to try the flipped classroom. Tapi communicate, because like I said in my talk earlier, communicate this to the students so that they know when they come into class, they must have read or they must have watched the video or they must have done the tasks, okay? Sebab kalau you don't communicate, then they wouldn't know. They come into class, just kadang-kadang tak bawa pen pun kan. Okay, so they know what to do when they come into class, they know what they need to have done. Like I said, the advice is tak perlu the whole session. Just pick one or two that you can do because tak semua pun, right? You can do a flipped classroom for, right? Some things you can delay, some things may need more time. But my advice for new lecturers particularly, don't try all and stay motivated by just watching talking to peers, watching YouTube videos as well, okay? Because motivation comes from within you, okay? Extrinsic motivation, already, you have to do it, right? But you have to find it within you. You have to find value, okay, of the flipped classroom for your students, and then you can, stay motivated. Okay, I hope that answers the question. Any other questions? I can't see anything from here.
Okay, thank you, Puan Saleha. That was indeed very enjoyable, very interesting, and enlightening presentation. So, all right, do we have any questions from our audience? No, the technical team? No, all right. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, those were indeed insightful presentations from our two panelists. Thousands of thank you once again to Puan Amelia and for accepting our invitation to be a panelist in this webinar. Thank you so much, Puan Saleha.
You're welcome.
We'll see you again. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, those were indeed insightful presentations from our two panelists earlier. We hope that their sharing will assist you in implementing Flipped Classroom. With the conclusion of our panelist sessions today, we are wrapping up our webinar for the day. However, I'd like to remind everyone not to forget to join us for the continuation of our webinar tomorrow, where 4 outstanding panelists will share their expertise on the CDIO model on Policy, Flipped Classroom for tourism and hospitality, student engagement and blended learning in polytechnics and community college. So we'll see you again tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. sharp. Goodbye, everyone.